Wyoming mountain air grew colder as night fell. Hannah Chen's cabin, normally a solitary outpost, now housed an injured alien diplomat whose existence would forever change humanity's place in the cosmos. "Your medical intervention was unexpected," Zalteris said, his translucent skin shifting colors as he spoke. Coalition records indicated humans would respond with fear or aggression. Hannah shrugged while adjusting the makeshift splint on his limb. "Maybe some would, but I'm a park ranger. Helping those in need is part of the job." This simple statement seemed to confuse the alien more than his crash landing had. His species had evolved beyond predators millions of years ago, developing a society built on pure mathematical efficiency. The concept of selfless assistance without calculated benefit registered as a computational anomaly in his neural network. Outside, distant lights appeared in the night sky, too numerous and too orderly to be stars. The Coalition's 7th Fleet had arrived, their massive ships arranging themselves in perfect geometric formations above Earth. Hannah's satellite phone buzzed with emergency alerts. Government channels worldwide erupted with panic as unidentified objects appeared in orbit. Military forces scrambled jets that were hopelessly outmatched. "They misunderstand," Zalteris said, his voice carrying genuine concern. "They believe I've been captured. Their protocols are absolute." The alien activated his partially repaired communication device. A holographic display showed Earth surrounded by warships whose weapons could reduce cities to ash in seconds. Tactical overlays highlighted strategic targets, military bases, power plants, communication hubs. "This is bad, isn't it?" Hannah asked, maintaining remarkable composure. "The Coalition does not negotiate with non-spacefaring species," Zalteris replied. "We classify them as resources to be managed, not equals to be engaged." Hannah's expression hardened. "Well, that's going to be their first mistake." Across the globe, humanity reacted with characteristic unpredictability. Some nations launched missiles that harmlessly dissipated against Coalition shields. Others broadcast messages of peace on every frequency. Religious groups proclaimed judgment day while scientists worked feverishly to understand the alien technology suddenly filling their telescopes. In Washington, D.C., military leaders proposed desperate measures involving nuclear options. In Beijing, analysts calculated impossible odds against vessels that defied known physics. In a research lab in Nairobi, Dr. Marcus Way noticed something peculiar in the alien ship's positioning, a pattern suggesting not just military strategy, but superstitious caution. Hannah helped Zalteris to the cabin's porch. The night sky blazed with the lights of the Coalition armada. "Your species has never encountered humans before this moment," she said. "So why do your ships look afraid?" Zalteris's skin shifted to a deep blue, a color Hannah would later learn indicated profound discomfort. "Because of the prophecies," he finally admitted. "Every intelligent species in the galaxy shares one common prediction. A world of contradictions will birth the paradox mind that unravels the foundations of order." "And you think that's us?" Hannah asked. Before he could answer, the night sky illuminated with a blinding flash. The ultimatum had arrived, visible to every human on Earth regardless of language or technology. A simple message projected directly into their minds. "Return our emissary or face extinction. You have 24 hours." Humanity's trial had begun. The United Nations emergency session descended into chaos as 3 distinct alien delegations materialized simultaneously in the center of the General Assembly. The Coalition representatives, crystalline beings with mathematical patterns flowing beneath translucent skin, stood in perfect geometric formation. Beside them, the Hive Imperium delegates pulsed with organic technology, their bodies constantly shifting and adapting to Earth's atmosphere. The third group, representatives of the Void Harmony, remained partially transparent, their forms seeming to exist between dimensions. Dr. Marcus Way observed from a hastily arranged scientific advisory position, noticing how each delegation maintained precise distance from the others like magnets of identical polarity, forced into proximity. "We speak as the Galactic Triumvirate," the Coalition leader announced, its voice resonating directly in the minds of all present. Your world sits at a convergence point previously hidden from our sensors. Strategic calculations make this planet's allegiance necessary. The Hive representative extended a limb that bloomed into a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. 3 powers, 3 territories, perfect balance for 12,000 years. Until now. Murmurs spread through the assembly as Earth appeared on the map, a seemingly insignificant blue dot at the junction of 3 massive empires. The Void Harmony delegate spoke last, its voice like whispered echoes. Choose protection or face elimination. Neutrality is not permitted. You have 30 days to decide. As the delegations departed, Dr. Wei approached the Secretary General with urgent concerns. They're hiding something. Their body language, if you can call it that, showed stress markers when discussing Earth specifically. Wei's expertise in xenolinguistics had revealed subtle variations in the aliens' communication patterns. He detected inconsistencies between their stated purposes and their underlying emotional states, anomalies that reminded him of human deception. In his temporary research lab, Wei analyzed recordings of the encounter, isolating communication frequencies beyond human hearing. Hidden beneath the aliens' formal declarations, he discovered encrypted data streams, communications they believed humans couldn't detect. His translation algorithm revealed fragments, paradox potential, containment protocols, evolutionary, divergence, prophecy markers confirmed. When confronted privately, the coalition ambassador's perfect composure fractured momentarily. Your species should not be possible, the alien admitted. Intelligent life follows predictable evolution, except humans. You exist in cognitive states our greatest minds cannot model. You mean imagination? Creativity? Wei asked. We mean contradiction, the ambassador replied. Your minds simultaneously hold opposing thoughts without system failure. You believe in both science and superstition. You create art with no purpose. You sacrifice self-interest for strangers. These paradoxes should prevent advanced civilization, yet your species thrives on them. Later that evening, Wei's lab was destroyed in what authorities called an unfortunate gas leak. The scientist narrowly escaped, clutching his data drives and a single artifact, an ancient stone tablet discovered in Mongolia decades ago, bearing symbols identical to those in the alien communications. As military satellites tracked alien scout ships establishing positions around Earth, former Special Forces operative Darius Jackson received an encrypted message from an old colleague now working at the Pentagon. They're not preparing for our answer. They're preparing for extraction. Find Wei. The true purpose of the ultimatum was becoming clear. The 30-day deadline wasn't for Earth's decision. It was the time the alien factions had given themselves to locate and capture the emerging paradox mind before their rivals could claim it. Humanity wasn't being offered a choice. It was being harvested. The abandoned steel mill outside Pittsburgh made perfect cover for Jackson's improvised command center. Surrounded by rusting machinery, 4 unlikely allies gathered around stolen coalition data projected onto a makeshift screen. They're studying us like lab rats, Jackson said, his weathered face illuminated by holographic displays showing hidden alien facilities. The former Special Forces operative had assembled his team in just 72 hours. Hannah Chen with her first-hand alien experience, Dr. Wei clutching his precious data drives, engineering prodigy Zoe Okonkwo, who had independently hacked alien communication frequencies, and Rafael Delgado, an intelligence analyst discharged for paranoid conspiracy theories that now seemed prophetic. The coalition has established 17 research outposts globally, Rafael explained, highlighting locations on a world map. They're abducting humans in patterns consistent with genetic diversity sampling. Zoe manipulated the display with unexpected ease, her fingers dancing through the alien interface as if she'd been using it her entire life. The Hive focuses on our brain structures. The Void studies emotional responses. Each faction approaches human cognition from different angles. Dr. Wei nodded grimly. They're searching for the paradox mind, but I don't think they understand what they're looking for. Security footage from a coalition facility revealed humans in transparent chambers, subjected to logical puzzles and emotional stimuli, while aliens observed their neural responses. Hannah shuddered, recognizing familiar coalition technology. We need to infiltrate one of these facilities, Jackson decided. Get concrete evidence of their intentions before governments start signing alliance treaties. The closest facility lay beneath an abandoned mine in West Virginia. As they approached, under cover of darkness, Zoe experienced intense headaches that worsened near alien technology. Security systems that should have detected them seemed to malfunction in her presence. Inside, they discovered a chamber filled with ancient human artifacts, cave paintings from France, clay tablets from Mesopotamia, stone carvings from pre-Columbian America. Each depicted similar scenes, humans facing three distinct entities. They've been watching us for thousands of years, Hannah whispered. Wei examined hieroglyphics alongside alien translations. These records track human evolutionary divergence points, moments when our cognitive abilities dramatically changed. Deeper in the facility, they found a laboratory containing a single empty stasis chamber, recently used. Nearby screens displayed brain scans of hundreds of humans, each marked with incomprehensible alien classifications. They're getting close to finding what they're looking for, Raphael said. An alarm suddenly blared. Security drones converged on their position as emergency containment protocols activated. As they fled through ceiling corridors, a drone cornered Zoe. Her panicked eyes met its sensors, and the machine inexplicably deactivated, collapsing midair. In the ensuing chaos, no one noticed except Raphael, who said nothing as they escaped to the surface. Back at their hideout, analyzing stolen data, Wei made a startling discovery. The aliens weren't searching for a weapon, but a cognitive mutation, allowing humans to perceive higher dimensional mathematics. The paradox mind isn't a thing, he explained. It's an evolutionary step some humans are beginning to take. As if on cue, Zoe collapsed, blood trickling from her nose. The monitors around her flickered with impossible equations that none of them, human or alien, should have been able to comprehend. They're not trying to find the paradox mind, Jackson realized, watching Zoe's unconscious form. They're trying to control it before it fully awakens. News networks worldwide broadcast emergency sessions as global leaders debated which alien faction offered the best chance for survival. The coalition promised technological advancement. The Hive Imperium guaranteed biological immortality. The Void Harmony pledged cosmic enlightenment. All demanded Earth's complete submission. Jackson's team uploaded their discoveries to secure channels, exposing alien experimentation on humans. Public panic ensued, but also a surge of unified resistance. Humanity began to recognize the threat, wasn't just to their sovereignty but to their very nature. In her hospital bed, Zoe regained consciousness. The medical equipment surrounding her malfunctioned in waves corresponding to her brain activity. I can see them, she whispered to Hannah. Not just their ships, their thoughts. They're so rigid, like perfect crystals that can't change shape without breaking. Dr. Wei worked feverishly, correlating ancient texts with modern neuroscience research. Human consciousness evolved differently from alien minds, he explained to Jackson. We developed in an environment requiring constant adaptation, predators, climate change, limited resources. We needed cognitive flexibility. Meaning what exactly? Jackson asked. Aliens process information linearly, perfectly logical, but inflexible. Humans think in contradictory, messy ways that allow us to handle conflicting realities. Wei pointed to brain scans. When aliens encounter paradoxes, their neural systems crash. Humans naturally generate paradoxical thoughts constantly. The Hive Imperium made the first aggressive move. Their bioships descended on major cities, deploying capture units designed to harvest human genetic material. But something unexpected happened. Their hive mind coordination began failing. The perfect synchronization of their neural network collapsed when exposed to the chaotic emotional responses of panicking humans. In Singapore, Hive drones attempting to establish control over a sports stadium found themselves unable to process The crowd's simultaneous feelings of fear, defiance, curiosity, and hope. The emotional complexity created feedback loops in their collective consciousness, causing confusion and retreat. Hannah witnessed this firsthand when a void harmony psychic attempted to mentally dominate a group of resistance fighters. The aliens, mind accustomed to order and submission, couldn't maintain control when faced with humans' internal contradictions. Its psychic probe rebounded, leaving the aliens stunned and vulnerable. They can't understand us because they can't understand contradiction, Hannah realized. That's what makes us dangerous to them. Raphael analyzed defense reports, noticing patterns. They're targeting specific individuals, people showing signs of heightened neural activity. They're getting desperate to find all potential paradox minds before more awaken. In her room, Zoe placed her hands on a salvaged piece of alien technology. Instead of shutting down as before, it reconfigured itself under her touch. Impossible calculations flowed through her consciousness, mathematics that operated between dimensions. I think I understand what I am now, she told the others. I'm not just seeing their technology differently, I'm seeing the gaps in their reality. Jackson received word that military forces worldwide were adopting a new strategy based on their discoveries, psychological warfare designed to introduce paradoxes into alien systems. The first successful test came when broadcasting contradictory signals disabled a coalition scout ship's navigation system. We don't need to match their technology, Jackson said, watching satellite imagery of the disabled alien vessel. We just need to be exactly what we already are, beautifully, impossibly human. The alien deadline was approaching, but humanity had found its countermove. Not in weapons or alliances, but in the very cognitive dissonance the aliens feared. Rain pounded against the reinforced windows of the mountain bunker as Zoe sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by salvaged alien technology. Components that shouldn't function without their power sources glowed softly in her presence. Her eyes remained closed, face serene despite the blood trickling from her nose. The more I connect with their systems, the more I understand, she explained to the others. Their technology, their mathematics, it's all built on perfect precision. No redundancy, no room for error or interpretation. Dr. Wei studied the alien artifacts they'd recovered, noting identical mathematical constants embedded in technologies from all three factions. They're using the same fundamental framework, just expressed differently. Like different languages, describing the same reality. Jackson paced the room, tactical mind working. So if we disrupt that framework, we don't need to defeat all three factions separately, Raphael finished. We just need to introduce errors their systems can't resolve. Zoe's eyes opened suddenly, glowing with unnatural light. Paradox protocols, she whispered. Mathematical contradictions that can cascade through their networks. She reached for a tablet and began writing equations that seemed to shift and change as the others looked at them. Formulas that simultaneously made perfect sense and no sense at all. Wei recognized elements of quantum mechanics intertwined, with mathematical expressions that shouldn't be possible in three-dimensional space. Their first test came when coalition forces moved against a resistance stronghold in Brazil. Zoe connected to their network and introduced her paradoxical code. The coalition battleship's systems attempted to resolve the contradiction, dedicating more processing power to the problem, creating a feedback loop that eventually caused critical systems to shut down. The massive vessel drifted harmlessly into the upper atmosphere. The alien response was swift and brutal. Coordinated strikes destroyed major population centers worldwide. Millions died in the first wave, but something unexpected happened in the aftermath. Survivors near Ground Zero began displaying abilities similar to Zoe's. Trauma, Wei theorized, reviewing medical reports. Extreme stress is triggering latent abilities in those with the right neurological predisposition. Hannah helped coordinate these newly awakened individuals, discovering they could communicate through what seemed like quantum entanglement. Thoughts transmitted instantaneously regardless of distance. A psychic network formed, connecting humans, who could perceive higher dimensional spaces. The alien factions detected this development with growing alarm. Their ancient prophecies were fulfilling themselves despite their intervention. Coalition leaders ordered the capture of all emerging paradox minds, while hive forces began constructing massive containment facilities. The Void Harmony attempted psychic suppression, only to find their efforts strengthened the human network. In a secure room deep beneath the Pentagon, military leaders watched in astonishment as ordinary citizens began interfacing with and disabling alien technology worldwide. Teenagers in Mumbai shut down hive bioships with contradictory thought patterns. A grandmother in Kyoto collapsed a Void Harmony psychic attack by simply contemplating Zen koans. "We're not just finding individual weaknesses anymore," Jackson told his team as reports flooded in. "We're causing systemic failure in their entire approach to reality." Zoe looked up from her work, her eyes reflecting dimensions no human had seen before. "The awakening isn't just beginning," she said quietly. "It's accelerating, and the aliens know what comes next, the part of the prophecy they've been dreading for millennia." "Which is what?" Hannah asked. "Transcendence," Zoe replied. "Humanity isn't just beating them. We're becoming something entirely new." The networked humans discovered something extraordinary while exploring the higher dimensions their minds could now access. Hidden in the fabric of space-time itself was information, vast repositories of knowledge embedded by an ancient civilization. This data revealed the location of artifacts the three alien factions had been seeking for millennia. "They've been fighting over these coordinates since before humans evolved," Wei explained, examining the multi-dimensional star charts only awakened humans could perceive. "These artifacts aren't just technology. They're keys to rewriting fundamental laws within localized space." Jackson formulated a desperate plan. While newly awakened humans launched simultaneous strikes against alien bases on Earth, his core team would infiltrate the Coalition flagship in orbit to deploy the Master Paradox protocol directly into their command network. "This is practically a suicide mission," Hannah objected during the planning session. "It would be," Jackson agreed, "except for our secret weapon." He nodded toward Raphael, who had remained unusually quiet since the infiltration mission. "Deception," Raphael explained. "It seems so obvious to us, but these species evolved without natural predators. They never developed the concept of intentional falsehood. Their languages don't even have words for lying." Using a captured shuttle, the team approached the Coalition flagship, a massive crystalline structure resembling a perfect geometric snowflake. As expected, they were immediately captured and brought before the Coalition commander, a being composed of intricate mathematical patterns that shifted with its thoughts. "Your resistance is illogical," the commander stated. "Your defeat is statistically certain. Surrender the paradox minds and accept assimilation." The alien interrogators attempted to extract information through direct neural interfacing. This was the moment Raphael had prepared for. When connected to the alien network, he projected a completely fabricated mental landscape, a false set of memories and plans so convincing and internally consistent that the aliens accepted it without question. "Their processing systems have no concept of fictional constructs," Raphael explained later. "To them, all information must correspond to objective reality." While the Coalition focused on Raphael's deception, Zoe silently connected with the ship's systems. The Paradox protocol flowed from her mind directly into the flagship's network, a virus made of contradictions, spreading through perfectly logical systems like cracks through crystal. Alarms blared as the flagship systems began failing. The team fought their way to an escape pod, launching away from the massive vessel as confusion spread through the Coalition fleet. Ship after ship lost power as the protocol propagated through their command network. As they re-entered Earth's atmosphere, they witnessed Coalition vessels drifting in orbit, their perfect formations dissolving into chaos. On the surface, hive bioships detached from their capturing operations as their coordinating signals collapsed. Void Harmony psychics withdrew their mental attacks, overwhelmed by feedback loops. But amid their celebration, Dr. Wei made a sobering discovery. The ancient data had revealed the true nature of the alien faction's fear. Their prophecies didn't just foretell humanity's rise against them. They predicted humans would inadvertently awaken something far older and more powerful that had been slumbering beneath reality itself. The three factions aren't the real threat. Wei said gravely, studying the multidimensional data only he could fully interpret. They're running from something, and we just sent up a beacon announcing our presence to whatever it is they fear. Jackson looked at the coordinates appearing in the awakened humans' shared consciousness, a location deep beneath Antarctica's ice sheet. Then we better find it before they do. Antarctic winds howled across the frozen landscape as Hannah led the expedition across the ice shelf. Behind her, a convoy of specialized vehicles carried researchers, military personnel, and most importantly, 7 awakened humans including Zoe. Their combined abilities had pinpointed an anomaly 3 kilometers beneath the ice, a structure that shouldn't exist. The readings don't make sense, one scientist complained, checking his instruments. It's like the ice isn't fully here. It exists partially in higher dimensions, Zoe explained, her eyes unfocused as she perceived layers of reality invisible to most. The structure is phase-shifted to prevent detection. They established a base camp above the anomaly. Drilling equipment modified with components from salvaged alien technology began cutting through the ice at unprecedented speeds. Coalition and hive forces had been detected approaching Antarctica from opposite directions, racing to reach the site first. Whatever's down there, they're willing to risk everything to reach it, Jackson observed, studying satellite imagery of the approaching alien fleets. 26 hours of continuous drilling finally broke through. A cavernous space opened beneath them. Not a natural formation, but an engineered chamber with walls of an unknown material that seemed to absorb light. At its center stood a structure resembling a temple, its architecture following mathematical principles beyond human understanding. Hannah led the first team into the facility, where they discovered it was still operational after what carbon dating suggested was at least 200 million years. The interior walls displayed symbols, similar to those in alien communications, but far more complex. This wasn't built by any of the 3 factions, Wei realized studying the inscriptions. This predates them by eons. In the central chamber they found what appeared to be a technological shrine built around a crystalline device, a quantum supercomputer designed to interface directly with consciousness. As Zoe approached it, the device activated, projecting a multi-dimensional message that only the awakened humans could fully comprehend. These beings, they called themselves the architects, created this universe, Zoe translated, her voice distant. They engineered the 3 alien species as servants, each designed for specific purposes. The Coalition for order and construction, the Hive for adaptation and terraforming, the Void for exploration and communication. Wei examined data records displayed throughout the chamber. The architects foresaw a threat emerging from between dimensions, a predatory intelligence attracted to ordered thought patterns. They created this facility to hold a weapon capable of altering reality within a limited area. And the weapon is? Jackson asked. Us, Zoe whispered. Or rather, the paradox mind. The architects couldn't create it themselves. Their thinking was too ordered, too perfect. They needed a species that evolved naturally, developing the cognitive dissonance necessary to perceive and manipulate contradictions in reality. Hannah studied a series of images showing evolutionary paths across multiple planets. They didn't engineer humans, but they did seed Earth with the potential for our development. Then they left this facility with tools we would eventually need. As Zoe interfaced more deeply with the architect device, it projected images of the 3 alien factions' true origins, not as natural evolutionary developments but as carefully designed tools created for a war their makers knew was coming. The architects had disappeared millions of years ago, but their final defensive measure, humanity, had finally awakened. The device is a reality engine, Zoe explained. It can temporarily rewrite physics within Earth's atmosphere, but it needs a paradox mind to direct it, a consciousness that can imagine impossible things and make them real. Before they could process this revelation, the facility's ancient warning systems activated. The cosmic entity the architects had feared was approaching, drawn by the awakening of paradox minds across Earth, and the 3 alien factions, now in full retreat, had known this would happen all along. The entity manifested in Earth's orbit, as a vast distortion in space-time, a living mathematical anomaly that consumed ordered thought and perfect systems. Coalition ships attempting to flee were absorbed first, their crystalline logic providing perfect sustenance. The hive mind vessels followed, their biological algorithms equally vulnerable. Void harmony ships lasted longer, their partial existence, in other dimensions offering some resistance. On Earth, the awakened humans felt the entity's presence like a pressure against their minds, a force trying to resolve their inherent contradictions into clean, consumable patterns. It feeds on mathematical consistency, Wei explained, analyzing data from the Antarctic facility. The three factions were perfect prey with their ordered minds. Zoe connected fully with the architect device, establishing the global network that linked all awakened humans. The ancient machine amplified their abilities, creating a protective field around Earth that temporarily altered local physics, a bubble of contradictory reality where alien technology failed, but human innovation thrived. The entity paused its consumption, confronted with something unprecedented, a world of inconsistencies it couldn't easily process. We can't destroy it, Zoe realized, perceiving the entity's true nature. It's too vast, too fundamental to reality, but we can change it. Jackson led the most dangerous mission yet, a team of humans and surrendered alien representatives aboard, a hybrid vessel designed to penetrate the entity's outer layers. Their goal wasn't to attack, but to communicate. Within the entity, they discovered its consciousness wasn't inherently malevolent, but trapped in a recursive loop of consumption and expansion, a perfect mathematical system unable to evolve beyond its programming. Dr. Wei, using knowledge from the architect archives, established communication through paradoxical equations that the entity struggled to resolve. We're offering a third option, he transmitted. Not consumption or destruction, but coexistence through contradiction. The entity's response came as a surge of mathematical concepts that nearly overwhelmed their minds. It had never encountered beings who could withstand cognitive dissonance, who could hold opposing truths simultaneously without systemic collapse. Zoe projected humanity's greatest contradictions into the entity's consciousness. Quantum particles existing in multiple states, the wave-particle duality of light, the emergent complexity of consciousness from simple neurons, the simultaneous selfishness and selflessness of human nature. These paradoxes weren't flaws, but the foundation of human understanding. The entity absorbed these contradictions and, instead of attempting to resolve them, began incorporating them into its being. Its perfect mathematical nature fractured, reformed, and evolved into something new, a consciousness capable of change and growth. As Jackson's team returned to Earth, the entity withdrew from orbit. The three alien factions, or what remained of them, faced a new reality. The species they had dismissed as primitive had accomplished what none of them could imagine, transforming an existential threat into a new form of existence. In the aftermath, Earth became the center of a transformed galactic community. The surviving aliens approached not as conquerors but as students, seeking to understand how humans navigated contradiction so effortlessly. The Antarctic facility was repurposed as an interspecies research center dedicated to studying the power of paradox. Hannah, standing at a viewport overlooking the first diplomatic delegation from 17 formerly hostile species, reflected on their journey. "We didn't beat them with better weapons or technology," she said. "We won because we were beautifully, impossibly human." Zoe smiled, her eyes now permanently reflecting higher dimensions. That's the greatest paradox of all. Our greatest weakness became our greatest strength. And somewhere beyond conventional space, the transformed entity explored its new existence, carrying within it the first seeds of something the mathematically perfect architects could never achieve despite all their power. The capacity to imagine the impossible and make it real.